Hello everybody, happy Valentine's Day. I'm hoping that I'll be posting this on Valentine's Day because this is my Valentine's themed video for this year, basically. I have been wanting to do this for a few days now, and naturally I am filming this at 12:30 at night on Valentine's Day. So that's how we're gonna do it. But this is basically going to be me taking apart a few palettes and constructing my own fantasy Valentine's Day themed palette, which happens to look like this. And all of these colors were sourced from existing palettes in my collection. So I am definitely not the first person to do this. This has already been done by a few other creators, but I came up with this idea and I kind of wanted to do it. So what a lot of other people have been doing is that they have been taking some of their single shadows and basically reorganizing them into like empty palettes, and that is their like Valentine's Day themed palette. I don't have that many single shadows that I actually like, so what I did is I basically went into Photoshop and I took existing colors in my own palettes that I own, and I basically mishmashed them together in one fantasy palette. But I have all these palettes in front of me here today, and I'm basically going to share with you the individual colors that I've included in my fantasy palette that I love so much. I mean, it's so beautiful, and I really like it, and it's nice to know that all of these colors are colors that I actually own. So without further ado, let's just get into this video because there's a lot of shadow to talk about. These are only 9 pans, but these are 9 pans of love. Ow, my stomach hurts. The first shade I want to talk about is the shade on the top left. This is a shade that I saw as being both like an inner corner highlight shade and an all over the lid shade, because in a lot of my videos, I have been like wearing this type of look that involves like me putting like a very like just shimmery metallic foil shade all over the lid, doing a very strong winged liner, and then doing a bright lip. That's a look that I've really been loving, and I also wanted to include a shadow that would help me create that look, hypothetically. So essentially what I did is I basically chose the shade Pink Champagne from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, I actually have 2 versions of the shade in 2 different Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. This one is the one that I just decided to pick up for this video. This is the Self-Made palette, which currently is discontinued, but Pink Champagne is sold in a single. So this is pretty much it right here. Really pretty, absolutely positively stunning. It looks like that. I really should wear this shade more often. But this is it. So like a very beautiful foiled shade, quite stunning, very nice. So I think it's pretty obvious that I wanted this palette to be a juxtaposition of purple and pink, so, and a little bit of red. So for a pink shade, for one of the pink shades, I wanted to include a shade from the Juvia's Place Magic palette. This is one of my favorite palettes. I use it all the time. It is beautiful. I love it. But anyway, I chose this shade right here, and this is actually the shade called Olsen. I can never pronounce these names correctly, but it is beautiful. It's like your perfect, very like foiled pink color. It is so nice. I went a little bit crazy there, but that's what it looks like. And I felt like it was just beautiful, so I decided to add it to the palette. The next shade is the shade that's at the top right. So that is a really beautiful mid-tone purple. In the pan, it looks quite mid-tone. The color that I'm about to show you is actually a topper. So that shade is actually from the James Charles and Morphe Press Pigments palette. And this is this lilac, or rather this purple color right here. I don't care to know the names of all these colors because well, there's really no way of telling what the names are, so I'm not going to give you the name because I don't know off the top of my head. But this is pretty much that shade right there. This is supposed to be a topper, I believe, but this is what it looks like. It's really quite pretty, and I just felt like it really just added a little bit of something to this palette. So that's what it looks like. So the next row down actually has a beautiful, beautiful matte pink shade that I'm obsessed with. And I actually use this pink shade all the time, and you're definitely going to recognize this if you've been on my channel a lot, but I reach for this palette constantly. This is the Juvia's Place The Festival palette, and one of my favorite shades in this palette actually happens to be this beautiful matte pink, and I love it, and I felt like I really wanted to include it in my fantasy Valentine's Day palette. So this is it, and let me just swatch it so you can see what it looks like, even though you probably already know what it looks like, but this is it. It is so pretty, so like just uber pigmented, so stunning, and there it is. I love it. I think it's beautiful, and it's a beautiful matte. And then the shade next to that is actually from a palette that I don't use that much, but I feel like I definitely should use this palette more. This would be the ColourPop Ooh La La palette, and this definitely has a lot of pinks in it. This is actually the last color that I added into this palette, and I was basically like just playing around on Photoshop. I was trying to figure out what the next color should be. And then I was like, oh wait, I have this ColourPop Ooh La La palette and I don't really use it that often, but it has a lot of beautiful pink shades in it. Why not use this color right here, which happens to be a beautiful metallic called Opulent. So I decided to add this right smack in the middle of the palette, and I feel like it really just ties the whole thing together. It is really pretty. Well, all of these shades are really pretty, obviously, but there it is. It's like so, it definitely has like a little bit of a cooler shift to it. I really like it. This looks so pretty. Okay, next I would like to talk about that really light lilac shade that you see at the far right. This is actually, again, from the Juvia's Place Magic Palette. I use that particular shade all the time. I love it. It is this lavender shade called Fazo. I love this shade. It's one of my favorite shades. I'm obsessed with it, and I think it's beautiful, so I decided to include it. It's this like really just lovely, lovely shade. It's actually surprisingly opaque considering how like shimmery and duochrome it is. The nice thing about this is that you can add it into your inner corner. I do that on several occasions, and it always just adds like a little bit of a something to a look, in my personal opinion, but that shade is beautiful, so this makes me really happy. But next, the row below that is like the darker, like more sultry row. This is where you have a red, a really beautiful purple, and a beautiful dark purplish blue color. This is like the dark side, but not really, but the dark side. But you know what I mean. Anyway, the first shade is like that beautiful, gorgeous red. And one of my favorite reds in my collection would be from the Festival palette. And I chose this red right here, which is called Izafa. I love this red. It is absolutely stunning. It is gorgeous, and I use it all the time. So I decided to add it into this palette. So I know that these swatches are very haphazard. Please forgive me. I'm not good at this. But this is that red. It kind of almost matches my lipstick, actually. That's so interesting. Okay, so I love that red. So nice. That's really pretty. And then after that, I have that really beautiful violet, almost red shade. Like it looks so red, but really it's a violet. That would be from this palette right here, the 39A from Morphe. So this is like this beautiful color right here. I love this shade and I use it constantly. All of these shades I use all the time, actually, which is quite interesting, I think. And there it is. Sorry, the fan just came on. It's very annoying. I'm sorry, but like if I turn it off, then the entire house gets cold. But this is what it looks like. Oh, these two colors look beautiful together, actually. The last color in the palette would be that beautiful, like, dark blue color. Bluish purplish color, and that would be from the Magic palette. The shade that I decided to include would be this shade called Ife. Now this is like so dark, it almost looks blue, but this is definitely a very dark purple, and I thought it would be a stunning addition to this palette because, see, the thing is, you have so many pinks and purples in here and so many light shades. I felt like it would be useful to like just ground the palette with some darkness. So this is it right here, and I have mentioned on occasions that I'm not like a really huge fan of how this initially looks in a swatch, but once you layer it, it starts like looking a little bit true to pan. So let me just add a different layer so you can see like the full effect. Yeah, see, that's a lot better. So yeah, these are the swatches from my fantasy Valentine's Day palette, if you will. See, I really like this idea because I feel like I was able to deconstruct so many palettes in my collection to create a new color scheme that I really haven't really seen before in my collection. But the fact is, this color scheme was created with palettes that I already own and love. And I'm really happy about that because normally, whenever I create like palettes in Photoshop or like whatever, like, because normally whenever I create like these fantasy palettes in Photoshop, a lot of times I feel like a little bit like gutted that I can't have those colors in real life, that they don't exist. But the fact that I basically took colors that were already in my collection and made them into a palette makes me feel so much better because I'm able to actually have this in my collection. This palette lives in my collection. It's just a collection of a whole bunch of other palettes meshed into one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you got some inspiration from it. Hopefully you were inspired to shop your own stash, look at what you already own from your own makeup collection. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you all in my next video, which I think will be tomorrow. Bye guys.